liberty, and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Do we have a member of the, we don't have, we didn't have any of the Ministerial Association members. Well, we'll go with the moment of silence today. How about that?
She doesn't embarrass me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
could I ask that you allow Carol Musseline to come up for a minute at this time?
All right, Ms. Musseline, if you would come take the podium.
She has a special presentation she's going to tell us about.
Nikki told me not to embarrass her. She said, "Mom, you look like a ragamuffin." But I've been at the thrift store working with our doggies at the Safe Thrift Store in Palatka. So I've been there all day, so excuse my dress. I would like Jim Pignato to come up for a minute.
He did an awesome play. If you missed it,
Oh
you
my
really missed
gosh. I couldn't find him after the play Sunday. I think he was hiding upstairs, and I asked somebody where he is, and Rosie Harrell said, "Oh, he never comes out. He just hides."
He never wants recognition.
He never. And I hear Mary Poppins is coming in the spring, and I tell you what, you all were there, you know, it was awesome. And Jim, we can't say enough for what you've done to the community. It's just awesome. And I just wish more people would. Oh, it was crowded. I walked there Sunday. There was a line all the way out to the street that hadn't gotten tickets yet. They had to stop the show at 2:30 to wait 30 minutes to get all the people in. Wow. It was amazing. It was so amazing. So at this time, I would like to present Jim Pignato and his theater $1,000 to start his next show off. And I would like to encourage everybody in the community, when they have a birthday like it is mine today, my birthday, I want to give to someone that's really worked so hard.
Carol, that's
So I wish everybody would think about that on their birthday, because those costumes are expensive. Everything. It is so expensive, and I just loved it.
Did you know she was in the
Thank you so much, and thank you
Did I
for
embarrass you?
No, that,
you did real
I'll
good.
knock her out if you should.
No.
You did really good, Carol. Thank you.
Well, Carol, we'd like you to go talk to our legislature about giving money again for schools to do theater, musical theater and drama, and all the many things that we need to provide to children that the state doesn't give us dollars for. So anytime you want to go to Tallahassee, let me know.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, Ms. Criswell, you wanted to,
We have with us today Dale Alexander. I'd like Dale to come up for just a minute, please, and talk about with our new insurance. I've got to tell you, it has been absolutely amazing. And if you all have not been in to sign up yet, you will need to get with them and do that. And if I can do it, anybody can. It was very simple. I'm getting lots of compliments from teachers and other employees all around the district, and I just wanted Dale to tell you about it just real briefly so that you'll know what's happening. Dale?
Thank you all. Well, it's been a long journey since that presentation that we had in the boardroom months ago, but we've had a great enrollment so far. We're a little over halfway through, and just wanted to show you the tools that you all have available. Everything starts at myputnambenefits.com. And when you go there, the enrollment system, the Employee Benefits Center, the green button there takes you to all of your information, looks like that. And from that site, you've got video teaching, all your benefit guides, and so forth. And then you can go and log in to the enrollment system, and it looks like this. And when you go in, everything is there in a logical order. But your employees have just embraced us so well. They're doing so good. They have different ways to enroll. They can come in and sit down with us. If they'd rather be a little more private, they can call our call center all year long, and we walk them through what they have, or they can stay home and do it themselves. And it's fascinating to watch people come in teachers and
school
bus and
day.
mechanics and custodians, they'll come in and say, I don't have to see y'all because I've already done this, right? We go, yeah, it's all right. It's, however you want to interact with your benefits, that's what we want to do. We've got, this morning, about 740 of your employees had already logged in and done their work, either with us or themselves. So we're tracking, we're halfway. I think you sent out an email today of, we need to get everyone to go in and either take or enroll, so all of their information are
What's the
waived.
deadline on that?
This Friday, the 11th, December the
Ooh.
11th? Yes.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay, all right, we're at different locations throughout the system this week, and, but again, it's gone very well. If you've heard anything of how we can get better, just let us know, we'd love that. So, any questions that I can take from you all?
It didn't take 15 minutes, and I was slow.
So,
it's
when
been
you
excellent.
repeat the website, please.
myputnambenefits.com.
Thank you.
And I believe we're also gonna put it on the school
School-
site,
a
under
link.
departments and insurance, so you don't even have to remember that.
So you said they can either do it themselves or come in and sit down with you.
Sit down with
Where
us.
is that?
We've got different locations every day, 2 different locations every day during this time. So
Oh,
we've got a
okay.
schedule that's out there and we're going.
Different
over those.
schools?
Different schools every day. We'll be at all the locations throughout the enrollment. People come in and we just had a great time with everybody. And I want to say, your benefits committee is one of the best committees that we work with, and they did incredible work. They chose great carriers, great plans. People have come in and just said, this is fantastic, and the new options that they have, they've really appreciated it.
And they also can call the number, is that correct? And-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And the
that-
call center is available year-round.
Okay, great.
People will come in and say, I don't know what I have. And we just think that's, today, just unacceptable. We want people to know what they have, and they have that resource all the time, 12 months out of the year. Anywhere in the world that you are, you can log in and see your stuff.
Okay. And that number's on the website.
Yeah.
It's on
my-
the front myputnambenefits.com, and that number will stay up there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, Terry Wright called today, and he's feeling under the weather, and he's had some health-related issues lately, and he's taking the day off to try to recuperate and get a little healthier, but he's doing fine. So beyond that, if you are going to speak today, you need to get one of the cards if you wish to public comment and fill it out. And Angie, I don't know, if you get with Pam, she'll find you one if you want to speak, and we'll call you at the appropriate time. Now, under presentations, we would like to call, who's going to do this, Ms. Criswell?
Ms.
You?
Weaver?
Ms. Weaver.
Yes, this is very exciting.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Board. I know that probably all of you recall that about 2.5 or 3 months ago, I brought one of my school psychologists up, and she was recognized as being the Northeast Florida School Psychologist of the Year. Well, I'm proud to say, Eileen Mateo, if you'll come on up. This says, in recognition of being named Florida's School Psychologist of the Year, Miss Eileen Mateo. So she's representing Putnam County.
Oh, come on, guys. To the state of Florida.
What an honor.
The entire state, guys.
That is fantastic.
That really is something.
That is very, very,
And just so you know, we have high hopes for the national award as well. She is entering the next segment of the competition.
We've been very fortunate to have Eileen for a lot of years. I've worked with her personally at several schools, and she is truly amazing and very deserving of this award. So we're excited to have you here, and please tell us something today.
Thank you. So it's super, super awkward to be recognized or honored or mentioned. I don't know if anyone else in the world of education feels that way, but you never get recognition. You just go into your classroom, go into your school building, do your thing, and go home and enjoy your family. So it's been a great honor, and I thank everybody in Putnam Schools for recognizing that. But truly, there's no way that I would be the school psychologist that I am without the people I work with. So I really want to take this opportunity to thank my department, to thank the people at our schools. so much work goes into special education and so much work goes into dealing with our students and the parents and helping everyone work together and understand each other. And I just don't think that there's enough recognition for those people and the hard work that they do. So thank you for honoring me, but truly it's an honor to work alongside those people who work so hard for our kids.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
honey.
Congratulations. We're truly proud of her. I was really pleased with that. I know the board is as well. Presentation and update on truancy program. Mr. Rocco.
Thank you, Chairman Buckles. And as Rocco is coming up to the microphone, I'll just set out the foundation here. With truancy, we're always looking for ways, as your attorneys, to provide value. The law sometimes as a whole is criticized for being more reactive because we deal with problems as they come to us. But we try to be, and our firm tries to be proactive in helping the board in all ways that we can. And one of those ways is truancy. And the positive financial impact that the truancy program is able to have for the district and the part that we have in it. And Rocco has and Christy have put together a presentation, and we're looking forward to sharing with you more about what we're doing in the world of truancy.
Good afternoon. Truancy, from my perspective, is probably the best way that we can identify and help the most at-risk students in Putnam County. As a former prosecutor, as someone who has tried to give students as well as adults another opportunity, this is the best way to stop children before they get into the criminal justice system. This is the best way to get the parents the help that they need. And I think this is an amazing program that the Putnam County School District should be very proud of. And the numbers are reflecting that. And Christy May is really to be thanked. She takes a lot on her shoulders, and she really is the tip of the spear as it relates to making sure that these kids get the support and the help they need. And I'm going to go through kind of not just the process, but some of the numbers over the last year, so the board can be fully aware of what Christy and what the program has accomplished and what we intend to do within the next year. Here are some examples of some of the students' records that we found. So we have students who within a 90-day period have 26 unexcused absences, 28, 33, 46 unexcused absences, and 26 tardies for a year, 58 unexcused absences for a year. And there was one student that we identified who had over 100 absences, unexcused absences from last year. And there is something behind that. These children are not just skipping school because they want to avoid school. And I think that we have monthly court dates where we are now doing a full day in which we are going through these cases and taking the time that we need to make sure that the judge, as well as we call it the SIT team, the student intervention team, can identify what these issues are. So to go over the process a little bit. So the way this works is the school district identifies students who have missed the statutory amount of days. So that's to be considered habitually truant. That's 15 days within a 90-day period. And so I'm going to allow Christy to speak to that a little bit about how that works.
Well, I finally found somebody that talks more than me. Everybody knows, first off, attendance starts at the school level with the teachers. So when it finally gets to us, the student must have missed 5 days in a 30-day period, 10 days in a 45, or 15 in a 90. So myself, I try to attend every attendance meeting that I can possibly attend because I want to be there right off the bat. I want to be there right when I can meet the parent, right when I can meet the student, right there when we first kick off attendance. I have found that being there right off the bat, it shows the parent that it's not just the school anymore. It's the district as a whole. We're there from the beginning. If they have any questions, they can't say, well, nobody told me that. We have all the paperwork right off the get-go. They can't never say, well, my kid only missed 5 days. Well, at 5 days, this is what the law states. Florida statute 1003.26 says from age 6 to 16, your child must attend school, and this is why. So that's kind of where we're at. And I never put all my eggs in one basket. Anybody that works with me, they know that right off the bat. So when we get to court, by the time we get to court, you can ask Rocco, we have tried every intervention, everything. If you say you need clothes, as a team, we provide you clothes. You need shampoo, you need conditioner, as the student intervention team, we provide all of that for you. So by the time you get to court, we let you talk whatever you want. We have everything in our suitcase. We have provided you with everything. So you have no excuse by the time we get to court. So by then, whatever intervention we have put in place that you did not accept, we now court order that. And then poor Rocco, he has to write it all out. But back to that. First thing, on the school level, we have our meeting. And we have to put certain interventions in place. On the school level, it could be anything as simple as day one, every Tuesday you must meet with the guidance counselor. Check in. Hi, I'm here. And what they do you have a note today? Do you have a parent note? Do you have a doctor's note? Yes, ma'am. Can I check your backpack? Do you want to show me? It's just to put the kid in the place. So most of the kids forget. By the time they make the school bus, they've already talked to their friends. They've already done this. They've got to school. They may have honestly forgot about their note. They forgot what mom or dad has said. So all that is a daily check-in, or sometimes if you're older, it's a weekly check-in. You don't know how many 14-year-olds will pull out 4 or 5 notes, including my own. So they do forget. We've set up certain interventions as the parent can email. We verify, we do a test email with the parent. It's a lot easier. Social, internet, emails, we'll set that up. We have things set up now with the doctor's office where the doctor's office can now just fax in the doctor's note straight to the school. We have tried to set up certain interventions now to make it a lot easier to where no parent can say, I can't get it there. I don't have a ride. I don't have the gas money. So we have placed so many things in interventions now to kind of alleviate any possible excuses. Some schools have Frosty Fridays. We try to make everything positive. There's nothing negative anymore. So try not to make anybody terrified of truancy. People used to hear truancy and they said it used to be like nails going across the chalkboard. We tried to take that part out. That makes any sense. We want kids not to fear us. I don't want people to see me coming and knocking on a door and be scared. Rocco, you may have to pull me away to finish your presentation.
Well, so clearly we have a lot of different steps that we're
Correct.
trying to take before we, as the attorneys, actually get involved.
She was wrong. She can out-talk you, right?
I was just thinking.
I have to move myself. Sorry, y'all.
So when it gets to the attorney's involvement again, and this is where the program is taking it out of the district in terms of trying to step in and try and help those students, and now we're going towards the court system or having other agencies get involved. So what happens is the name comes to us when intervention is not successful. As the attorney, we attempt to identify all the students, draft truancy petitions, file with the court. The truancy petitions are sent to the residents of the child, and the parent and the child will be summoned to court. So both have to be present. Then we have our SIT meetings, and the SIT meeting is an opportunity for us to each, from the different agencies, go through and decide what is in the best interest of the child and what these different agencies can do for the child. Some of the services that we provide, obviously in-school counseling, the Stuart Marchman Act. We do weekly checkups with the students. When we get to truancy court and the child is deemed truant, and one of the conditions that may be held to the child is substance abuse counseling for the parent, or alcohol counseling for the parent, parenting classes, and we are identifying some students who are expectant mothers and seeing how we can help them. So some of the agencies involved include the Department of Juvenile Justice, the CDS Family and Behavioral Health System, Department of Juvenile Justice as well, the Juvenile Crime Prevention Office, and the Department of Children and Families.
Conley House has come on board too.
What was that?
Lee Conley House has come on board.
Okay, so we've got another agency. So when you come to these hearings, the jury box is filled with representatives from these different agencies who are there. Issues that have been identified. There are students who come and they say, well, the reason I'm not coming to school is some of them may be allegations of bullying or harassment, and then we follow up on that. Parental or child drug use, mental health issues. Sometimes we're finding that the children, once they are threatened with truancy petition, the child is taken out of school by the parent. And then what we're having as well is we're having parents who are coming to court who sometimes are under the influence of alcohol or narcotics, and the judges identifying that and asking them about that.
I'm sorry, what did you say, and doing what?
And identifying that and asking them about that, to identify the
But
situation.
he's not court ordering the drug or alcohol rehab to the parent.
Well,
He has.
Well,
He's
what-
put him in jail right then, too.
Well, after a contempt proceeding is done. So what happens is if he's believing that a parent is under the influence of something, he'll ask them to do a urine sample to
He has it
identify
right there.
what's going on with that. And so we've got a minor who's being driven by a parent who's most likely under the influence of something. And so his concern is making sure that child is being taken care of.
They have the opportunity to tell the truth, and many times they don't, and so he will order a drug test for the parent.
Right on the spot?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we also have Department of Children and Families there, so it also helps having them there.
Difference.
And so we have, in terms of having DCF present, sometimes DCF has an open case.
So that really helps.
Right.
And so that's, and some of these students, unfortunately, they also have involvement with DJJ with some sort of criminal case as well. So here, these are some of the numbers that we recently received for the expenditures per student for last year. So each child, when they are full-time enrolled, are allotted, basically from the state, about $10,000. So the total truancy cases investigated last year, 486. Students who violated court orders and removed from their home and placed at CDS, 21. Students arrested during school year for violating the court order or another crime during truancy process, only 3. And then the parents or guardians that were arrested, a total of 9. And these numbers are part of the packet I printed out for you as well. I think what's important is you can note that in-school counseling, we had 76 students that received in-school counseling for this.
And by that, you mean these agencies are coming in to counsel these students in the school?
Yes, or our actual counselors that we have took their ability to take that on themselves.
Okay.
Previously last year, with the number of cases that we had filed on and the amount of time that we had allotted, which was a half day once a month, we limited by the court's direction only having 30 truancy petitions on the docket at a time. This year, because we have a little bit more of an understanding of what the numbers are and what the need is, we have now expanded that to a full day, and so we have more than 30 petitions at a time. Typically, we're ranging over the last few months around 40 or 45-ish, about there. And so every month, there's probably 5 to 8 petitions that are closed out, but just last week I filed 11 petitions. Part of this process, as we'll talk about momentarily, the goal is to make sure that these truancy numbers go down, so they don't get to us. But right now, we're still in that phase where we're identifying the problem and trying to deal with it at this point.
And just to explain closed out, Rocco, do you mean that they followed the judge's orders, they're attending school regularly, they've been checked on for several months, everything's going great, so they close that out?
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Even with the closed out cases, the judge court orders the school district, myself, to continue to monitor. Like even the cases from last year, the 486, I have to go through a lot of those and see and check on them how they're doing.
Make
and
sure they're
I just
going to
gave
school.
Rocco some of them to reopen. So there's always, I mean, sometimes even late at night, on Skyward think, oh my goodness, you know, and,
Right.
and still checking on them because you want them to succeed. You're like, you don't want them to do so good and then like, okay,
What
there's
happened?
a reason, there's something going on. So even those, I've got a spreadsheet that, you know, may be about this thick, but it's just, it's a thing. We don't want this to fail, so we're checking
Right.
up on them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if any emphasis is put on grade level, be it higher or lower.
What do you mean, the grade level of the kid?
The kid, because to me, the sooner you catch it.
Oh, there are elementary kids in
A lot
there,
of them
in
are
the court.
elementary.
I mean, but do we focus on elementary or no?
Well, the main focus is identifying the problem. Once we identify the problem, like right now is identifying the problem. Of course, the elementary, we want to focus on that problem and fix it as young as we can. But then again, we don't want to focus just on elementary because we want to fix the older ones too and get them graduated. We don't, you know, we want to catch the 16-year-old
lose
ones.
them.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, because watching them graduate, watching some of the ones that we've already caught and watching them graduate, just catches you right here, knowing that, okay, if we just focused on elementary, then we wouldn't have watched them walk.
I'm
kept
not
them in
saying
school.
just elementary.
No,
I
it's
just
No,
hard.
but-
We're focusing on all of them, but right now, our biggest focus right now is trying to catch all of them, getting them in as soon as we can. Just missing 1 month during the summer last year hurt us. It put us so far behind. Just taking July off last year just put us really behind. And now having the full day, we're really catching up. So
One of the first times I was actually in a hearing, there was a student who, when she sat down, her feet were dangling from the chair. I mean, she was 7 or 8 years old.
Right.
So, and one of the things that you also find is, unfortunately, this is a family issue. You'll have students with siblings who are maybe in middle school or high school, and then all of a sudden their sibling is coming along as well, and they're truant, which again speaks to the fact that this can unfortunately be a result of issues outside of just, I want to skip school.
Right, because I remember one case from last year, the mother had 3 little boys. I think there were 3 little boys. And it wasn't their fault that the mother wasn't getting them to school.
Oh, a 7-year-old
You know,
can't be
it was,
responsible.
it was heartbreaking
Oh, right.
to me.
Yeah. So in terms of an estimate of the numbers that we're looking at for this last year, and so Christie spoke with Ms. Odom, I believe, and ran these numbers. So this is an estimate for the amount of each student. In October, February, the district is evaluated based on the total population of their students, and funding is given based upon that. And based upon the 486 cases, a rough estimate for the amount that could be saved for the district is almost $3 million.
Wow.
And so it's a
Makes it
significant.
real.
That's assuming that they're not
It's the numbers that we have, and so what we're going to try and do is continue to monitor these numbers and make sure that, in speaking with Christie and Ms. Odom, that we are making sure that we can track the work that we've been doing. In terms of this year, we filed 38 new cases. There are 39 cases that are actually eligible, students that are eligible. The cutoff, the number of students who turned 17 who are now being homeschooled or are being homeschooled, there's 32 of those students.
That were previously being, receiving interventions because of their truancy.
well, we have there's 32. The problem that we have, I'm not saying that we're not going to file on these 32, but we have some parents right now that we were in the process of working these cases, and either the schools didn't do the truancy meeting, or the parents got the letter and they jumped into homeschool or Desiree Academy before we had the meeting, and we have to have that RTI meeting before we can move forward. So
And we
if they
know what
do that
kind of homeschool
meeting,
they're
as soon
getting.
as they hit that 5 days, we can move forward no matter what, the way the law reads. But if they don't do that meeting, then there's nothing we can do. So there's 32 cases out there that the parents jumped, and there's nothing we can do about that. So, but right now, there's 163 cases right now that interventions are working. So, I mean, this year,
good.
I don't know what happened, but there's a lot of cases that just boom right off the bat, so.
600,000 right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about the 100 cases and the FTE,
yes,
that's
ma'am.
600,000
Right.
right there that be able to be.
We worked hard this year.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
awesome.
there was a lot of home visits and,
And there's just one of you.
yes, ma'am.
So in terms of currently, we're at 273 roughly for the number of cases that have been investigated this year to date. And so we're ahead of last year, unfortunately, but also that may be a testament to the work that Christy and the school district is doing in identifying these students. Yeah. And so as we progress, the message will be to the district, get the students to us sooner so we can avoid having to file petitions, but more importantly, so they're not missing so many days in school. Judge DuPont is the individual who really, I believe, brought this to the district as an idea. He's very passionate about this because he can see the impact it's having on the students and really their parents. And so he's to be applauded as well for his interest.
Well, and Judge DuPont is a product of Putnam County Schools, and he wants what's best for our school system.
Yes, absolutely. And so the accomplishments from last year, the financial impact for the school district, as well as identifying, organizing the agencies to work cooperatively together, trying to build those relationships, and also the holistic approach to identifying children's issues in the broader Putnam community. I think that the best way to educate these students, obviously, is to make them not worried about going home because of what's at home for them.
Right.
And, you know, we're trying to identify drug or alcohol issues as early as possible when they're there in these truancy hearings so we can get to the core of why are they missing school. So goals for this coming year:
It's heartbreaking.
to continue to create an efficient, cost-effective system. We are trying to identify ways to streamline this process so that for the district, it's going to be hopefully easier on Christie, and it's going to be a more fast-paced process. Again, educate the broader school district about the importance of this, as well as the administration and teachers regarding the warning signs of chronic absenteeism and the negative impact it can have. I heard a recent report mid-November where a professor at Johns Hopkins who studies absenteeism compared this to working in a hospital and not cleaning the bacteria. This is the way that this is the number one way to help students with their reading, with their math, with any way. If they're not in school, they're getting behind.
You can't learn if you're not there.
You can't learn if you're not there. And so that's really the goal. And the long-term goal, obviously, decrease the number of truant students. And again, to identify those students early. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Rocco.
And if I can just,
This is great.
if I can just take a moment to brag on Christy, what we're doing here in Putnam County is special, and it is being recognized around the region and around the state. And Christy's been invited to speak in a surrounding county, I believe it was Flagler County, had reached out to Christy to give some expertise. And so as we continue the program, we will be the torchbearer for truancy programs. And I think we all agree that it's a win-win, a win for the district, a win for
Absolutely.
students when students go to school. And also the timeline. Rocco, if you could speak to a little bit about the timeline when experts say that this will really come into to full fruition.
In terms of
The truancy program and the number of years.
from my understanding, speaking with Christy and doing a little bit of research on my own, to get the full worth out of a truancy program, it's about 3 to 5 years. And at that point, you're going to hopefully see some real results. And so that's, we're in year 2 of this.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a wonderful presentation.
And just so y'all know, I told Flagler they didn't want me to talk.
No, you need
We'll call Janet
to.
Valentine and tell her that you're pretty long-winded. It's okay, Chris.
Thank you for everything
you.
y'all are doing.
And I want to say, I've seen Christy bring alarm clocks too. I said, what is in your hand?"
Absolutely.
And
She has them in court.
Yeah, she gives them alarm clocks. So there's no excuse. They say, oh, my alarm didn't go off. And it's like, here's your alarm clock. So there's no excuses if Christy's around on
Great
the.
excuse, though. We have one speaker that would like to come up. We have, would you come up at this time, Ms. Cohen? Come to the microphone. You'll need to state your name and address for the record.
My name is Angie Cohn. I live at 350 Songbird Road, Palatka, Florida. My issues at hand are about a teacher that I don't feel anything is being done about. We've had a few situations that's been brought to me by students, my daughter for one, of inappropriate behavior from this teacher. I have talked with Ms. Hedstrom. Ms. Criswell, I've spoke with you, spoke with Mr. Buckles. I've also spoke with Ms. Decky Bellis last year. I have filed complaints, and the only thing that I have seen done was my daughter alienated. And they call it justice. You know, their justification is, well, we're trying to keep your daughter separated from this teacher. So that means my daughter has to miss out on career opportunities because it is based on this class. She's going to lose a $250 a month payment in her career because she does not have this class for 4 years. She's going to lose rank upon graduation from her training because she does not have this class for the full 4 years. Okay, this has impacted her in more ways than one. She's been alienated. She's been discriminated against. I was treated like a common criminal at the high school for complaining. So, I don't understand why this is being just shoved under the rug and called taken care of when my daughter's the one that is suffering. That's what, that's a question I have. And I have this question for the board.
Well, I have no idea what you're talking about, so.
Mr. Buckles does.
Well,
Ms.
I
Criswell does.
do, and I pointed out to Angie today, who used to be an employee a very good employee with the district, that some of the things that we do as board members and our responsibilities really can't direct a principal on what to do.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Okay, put yourself in my position as a parent.
Now, we do have 3 minutes, but I'll
Okay.
have to go over a little.
Parents, how many are parents? How would you feel if your daughter was straddled over top of by a male teacher and you could see everything this male teacher has? Would you feel justified that your child was the one being penalized for it? Would you feel that was appropriate?
Did
It
it
would-
happen more than once? I mean, was it something that was
I
corrected? and-
complained that year. My daughter has been banned from the class that she needs to further her not her academics, but further her career. Okay, so her career's going to suffer because of it.
If I may just say, this is something that the board takes very seriously, any allegation of this nature, and there is a policy in place for us to investigate these alleged instances. We have a policy that we have to follow. We will, I don't know where we are, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
This has been ongoing for 2 years.
But you have my assurance as the board's attorney that we will do everything that we can possible to find out where we are in the progression of events, what formal documents have been submitted on your behalf in writing. We will, and wherever we are in the sequence that the policy lays out for us, we will pick it up and follow through. And if it needs to come before the board, that is part of the policy. But the board members right now and myself, I'm not able to advise the board because we have not heard of, I have not heard of this yet.
There are several other things that are taking place that has been reported. My son also reported these things and gave written documentation of all the notes that he had kept. This teacher has told students he's starting a revolutionary. And he is accepting members. He's going to take down the government, starting with Putnam County, and work his way up to the White House.
And he's an ROTC teacher.
This is what he's teaching children. This is what he told my son in a classroom
Yes,
full
ma'am.
of many other children. These kids are scared to come forward. They're scared of this man.
Angie,
Okay.
We've about completed the time. Unless board members have more questions, I did speak with Ms. Hedstrom, and she assured me that this was fully investigated. I asked Mr. Weaver to make sure he could be in here so he could, maybe at the superintendent's direction, go through it one more time and
Well, I would
look
say
back.
that as far as the grievance process, the board has set that out, and it does say if you're not happy, that it does go before the superintendent. So I would just ask if our board attorney would contact you and give you the process, and if you choose to do that, I would feel that would be appropriate, and then there's level 1, level 2, level 3, because it's a lot of hearsay, but until you put in writing dates,
I
times,
understand.
and
And
formal
witnesses
I
and
complaints.
understand.
all-
Well, see,
right.
my son gave all that to Miss Hedstrom, and then whenever he pulled it off of his flash drive on the school board's computer, it mysteriously got erased.
Well,
And the paperwork has mysteriously disappeared.
And there's been a proximity order issued to keep the instructor and the child separate, and this latest occurrence happened with her child being invited to attend the military ball for ROTC, and that would have been a violation of that proximity order. So that's what Ms. Hedstrom indicated to me, and Angie, I appreciate you
But
coming.
yeah,
I know
she's
it takes a
being,
lot of
but she's
courage.
being penalized.
Yeah.
Why should she be penalized for something he's done? That he stepped outside of the Board of Ethics rules. Ethics we all have to follow as employees, dealing with students, dealing with children. We all have a responsibility to the safe being of these children. And I don't feel that man is very safe. I feel like he's a loose cannon if he's teaching kids about starting a revolution.
If we could please have your contact information, if you could leave that with Sharon before
Yes.
you leave.
Is it on that card?
I would like to follow up with you.
yeah, I appreciate you. And we do have we don't get into the specifics,
Because
but we
we're
do
not
make-
privy to this
Right.
information.
But
Understand.
policies
She
are
worked-
made to help you with
She
that.
worked for the system when I was superintendent, so she knew, she called me last year and this year, so.
Yeah, and this has been going on since my daughter's freshman year, and she's now a junior. And, so her time of rectification is gone.
All right, thank you, Ms. Collins.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on, we have, are there any public comments? Anyone else would like to stand up and be recognized and speak? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. First item on the agenda is does anyone want to pull any items from the consent agenda?
Not I.
Ms. Cummings?
I just had a question about G1.
Say it again.
G1?
G1. Okay. Do you?
No, I got all my questions answered this afternoon before the meeting.
I did too,
Well,
so.
then I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of item G1.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, Ms. Cummings, you have a question?
I just had a quick question about, and I know that Ms. Decabellis is kind of routinely going through job descriptions and updating them. So I wasn't sure. I just looked at the one for the Information Services Director, and I wondered if that was a change or if that was just updated. Because I kind of was shocked to see that you have to have it made, the qualification said master's degree in computer science or computer education and certification in leadership. So I wasn't sure if those are two separate master's degrees.
It can be either, but this was really just updating.
Okay.
And we were moving it from being an executive director of information services to put it in line with other director positions so that all of our job descriptions, we're trying to keep them all aligned.
Okay, perfect.
And right now, this particular position is actually vacant within the district.
Oh, okay. So is that something that's going to be posted then?
I don't know, not at this moment. I don't know if it will be, but it was, again, just looking at our current job descriptions, trying to keep them all in line and make sure that we keep them all current and
All
up to
right.
date.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was my only question.
All right, I'll need a motion to,
I make a motion we approve item G1.
Second.
motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, moving along to emergency items. We'll go into emergency session here. Now declare us an emergency session. We have an item here that's the application for vision care benefits, justification, explanation, time sensitive. Mrs. Superintendent, Madam Superintendent, do you have anyone to speak to this?
Tammy?
I guess he left. Tammy, you want to do that? It just has to do with the group vision, and we had to do it at this time because we had to turn it in, but
I
Tammy,
like
did you want?
strategic planning, but actual vision for health insurance.
Yes,
Okay.
vision. Yes, you, with your eyes.
Is this
yeah.
basically what the committee had voted on? Oh, okay, it was just,
Skip being sent to the board with all the.
okay, perfect. I make a motion to approve emergency item vision care benefits.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All opposed? None opposed. Okay. All right, out of emergency session. Ms. Jorgensen's going to grab that gavel. She's
I'm ready to
keeping me
hit
in
you.
line. She's ready to hit me. We're going to discussion of old business. And old business, I don't see any.
Nope.
So seeing no old business, we have new business. Any new business? All right, well, if having any no new business, I'll move on to reports. We'll start with Ms. Jorgensen on board member reports.
Well, I was disappointed to miss the Florida School Board Association conference last week, and I still haven't done my 3 hours of, up till the 31st. Have you done yours 4 hours?
Yeah, it's 4 long hours.
Yeah,
Boring.
they will send you a link though if you call Andrew.
I have one. Yeah, I have one. I just have to make
Have
the
fun.
4 hours to do it.
For the end of December.
We used to, and I think Nikki was on the board and Terry, and goes back 20 years. When we had budget amendments, Rhonda would come up and explain them. They were separate from the consent agenda, and I was wondering if we could go back to doing that? If anybody objects on the board?
I
have a
don't.
problem. As long as she's here. If she's not here, Shannon would be here.
Right.
Okay, so.
We did.
Oh,
We did,
okay.
just so that Rhonda was
Right,
giving
and
an
it helps me
explanation without
understand.
each of us having to ask her, before the meeting. That would be great. And the other thing, drug and alcohol abuse. Let me tell you something. 20 years ago, I was on the board, and we're trying to get the kids to go to school, and their parents had drug and alcohol problems. And today, those students are the parents. And the problem has multiplied exponentially because the one mother has 4 babies, and they grow up, and now there's 3 more, at least, with alcohol and drug problems. And I think this is kind of political, but until we stop treating alcohol and drug abuse as a crime and make it a health problem, because we've lost the war, we make it a health problem and treat it as such, I don't think we're ever going to solve it. I don't know what to do. These truancies, in my experience, are directly related to, especially on the middle school and elementary level. High school's a different story, but you take a 5th grader or a 2nd grader who misses 80 days of school or 50 days of school, that's not their fault. Most of the time, those kids would love to get out of that filthy, roach-ridden house and get to school and get some food in their bellies. So again, I don't know how to handle it, but it is a tremendous problem, and it goes with poor economy. The poorer you are, the more of this problem you have. And I guess a prayer. That's all I know to do. I haven't figured anything else out, except to recognize it as a health problem, and these people, these parents that we disdain and all that, have a disease, and I don't know what else to say.
It's health and mental health.
Well, it is. A lot of them have mental health problems that have been undiagnosed because our society still says, oh, mental health problems. What are you, crazy? Whatever. Our society does not accept mental health. So these people are trying to self-medicate, a lot of them. That's where it starts. And of course, addiction is also genetic. So the parents have babies and then and it's so on and so on and so on. So I just wanted to mention that it's a tremendous problem in our county that so greatly affects the education. And if the kids aren't in school, we can't teach them. So I thank Rocco and Vicky.
Christy.
Christy, sorry, for their work. I really do, because I do think we're going to see a big change in graduation rates, scores, test scores, and income maybe. as a result. So thank you very much, and that's all I have to say.
You know, the amazing thing is sometimes the kids do rise above it and become valedictorians.
That I've seen many times.
Ms. Cummings?
I was very thankful to be able to go to Tampa, and the ethics training is done. I can put a check mark on that. There's great opportunities to network with people and learn a lot and talk to people and find out what's going on in other districts and, of course, legislation and all that great stuff. But two things that I really thought about a lot. One was a lunch with the IT director from Osceola. They actually just got a STEM lab. It's mobile STEM lab, and it is very amazing. It's just unbelievable the stuff they do. They take this bus. I'm like, I'm going to find a grant, and I'm going to get Putnam County a bus, because this bus is unbelievable. If you're in Osceola County, anybody's there to see this thing, it's phenomenal. I can't even begin to tell you how amazing it is for the kids. But I was interested in the fact that the IT director, we sat and discussed a lot of issues, and so I kind of wanted to see, because I thought, we all struggle with the same software, hardware issues, all the things, the tests, the state mandate. So, one thing, a simple thing they had was a committee, and anybody that wanted a new software had to go before this committee and present. And I said, gosh, I wonder if we have something like that, because for instance, we have one software that's not what it should be, and we're having trouble, and poor IT department. So I really was going to ask if we could have the IT department maybe give us a workshop, and if any of that stuff is done, and if not, what we can do to, he of course gave me his card, I'll help you in any way, this is what we've established, this is what we do, but I've seen it happen so many times, and the biggest complaint I have with technology is, oh yeah, we got a great new software, it'll be gone next year, or yeah, this is good for 1 year. It changes, these teachers have to learn a new software, so I'm just always. And you know what? One thing he said, they do not buy anything until they test it for 30 days. And iBoss, I know I've heard a lot of great things about iBoss software. He says, we said, hey, if you want it, 30 days. It didn't work, so they didn't buy it. I was like, so you can do that? So I just learned a lot from them, and I really thought if we had some type of task force about technology, because I really hate the wasteful spending of technology software that promises great things and then it's not what it's supposed to be. And it's just a personal, as a teacher, as a media specialist, so that's just something I would ask at some point next year, January, February, if we could just find out what we do before we buy software and what we could do to maybe make it more effective.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Maybe the chairperson can appoint a committee, as we did with the insurance committee.
To do absolutely.
Just see what they come up and recommend to the board.
That would be great. I mean, that's kind of what, I asked him what he did. He said they had principals and IT department get together, and they have 4 or 5 individuals meet once a month. And if you want to buy a software that's going to be on our network and over $500, you present this, and maybe we do something like that. I don't know. I just want to know what we do and how we can safeguard.
What the process is.
Because I'll tell you what, when I see this stuff on the agenda, I think it's all been checked out and everything's great. But recently we have a $20,000 software that is absolutely awful, so it's something that I'm like, well, I just assume it's all been great and checked, but these salespeople just tell you whatever they want to hear. Oh yeah, it'll work with Skyward. Oh yeah, it's wonderful, and then you actually get into the application, and it's not. So I just would encourage if we could, as a board, because it's our budget and we spend it, and when I saw that $20,000 expenditure and I hear how awful it is, I just want to scream and say, oh. So I don't know if there's any.
We have a workshop planned in January on IT, so all of that will.
Well, perfect. See, it's already been done.
that
Okay,
time,
great.
yeah.
Well, thank you.
And you
Just
can
talked
ask them
about
all
it
that.
prior to the meeting, and
Oh, well, gosh. And then that's all been taken care of.
Let you go
you
on
probably
and
need.
on.
Why didn't you just say that? You should have just shut
I
me
didn't
up.
want to be rude because Ms. Jorgensen will grab the gavel and hit me, but.
Good, okay.
All right, moving on to Ms. Crawford.
Well, I too was able to attend the FSBA conference, and gosh, I just learned so much about so many different things. 2 of the workshops out of the I was there Monday through Friday and was in workshops all day, every day. But the one on Tuesday, all day, was the chairman and vice chairmanship workshop, and it was wonderful, and I learned so much. And I was talking to Pam and Sharon about everything I learned, and it's not that we're doing anything wrong, but I just got so many ideas from other districts about things that they're doing that might help us in our communication process with one another. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask for a board workshop when we can schedule it, so we can just we never get a chance to talk to one another legally. You know, and I would like to be able to do that and discuss some of those things with y'all if you are agreeable to that.
On the chairman and vice chairman?
Oh, no, a bunch of stuff, not just that.
I know what you're talking
I'm not trying to tell you what to do.
Networking. Board
Well,
members,
just, yeah, I mean,
Chit-chat.
we can call it whatever.
Yeah.
But there are just a lot of things that I would like for us to talk about.
Well, what did they call it? Did they call it,
They called it the chairmanship thing, but I just learned a lot of stuff in there that I would like to talk to y'all
Well, I
about.
know some districts will meet after a regular scheduled board meeting, and then everybody can talk among each other and
Some of them meet before every
Yeah,
board meeting, and yeah.
try to figure out what they were
But
really talking about.
there's more to it than that, and but anyway, I'd like to do
I'd
that.
like to do
I've
that
never
also.
asked for a workshop, so I'm asking.
Currently have one scheduled for January, the one January meeting, and then you have one, the second meeting in February that finance is doing. So your first meeting in February would be open. if you
That sounds good.
That sounds good to me.
To have a workshop.
Yeah, we're gonna keep them going. Our goal, the three of us, is to have a workshop before every meeting.
That's
What,
fine.
so he'll flip
'Cause
his
He
wig?
told me he loves workshops.
I do, because I learned so much.
Another work,
Schedule that then.
oh,
Yes, ma'am.
because he knows what'll happen if he doesn't say yes.
I feel like I've got my sisters up here with me.
You do.
Yeah.
Another workshop that was, another thing, are you through?
Yes. It's
Well, I
your
wasn't.
report. It's your report.
Okay, I wasn't. Okay. I went to a session on equitable treatment for transgender and gender nonconforming students. And it's something that we're going to need to pay very close attention to and make sure our policy reflects that in the future. It was just incredible. Okay, last thing. We've already talked about ELF. It was amazing. We had students from all over the county, Interlochen High School students in it, elementary school students in it. It was just unbelievable what Mr. Pignato does with those kids and the talent that he pulls out of them. And we have got to continue as a board to support him and get all the goodie out of him we can get before he retires.
He already retired.
Well, before he retires again, he can't go on forever, and, while we got him, we need to keep him.
You might want to make that a board agenda item for discussion, because he's not an employee.
Right, I know.
And we try to manage to get him some money. It's not set in stone how much or
Right.
how we do it. Certainly, when he does the plays, you're right, it costs a great
It's
deal
very
of money.
expensive.
And what he takes in doesn't usually cover the cost. And actually, we've tried to pay him, but he won't take the money. Whatever money we can give him, he puts
puts
back
into the production.
Yes. So it's something that if you want to look at it more closely, it is amazing. It involves the whole county. He does a tremendous job, and you're right, I want to keep him as long as he'll stay.
Well, and that's something our foundation, hopefully, when
Yes.
we get that up and going, that would be able to support our
I would
arts.
like it on the agenda for discussion. I think the board should come up with a number. He won't take money, but give him plenty for his program. I think we gave him $35,000 a couple
Well,
years
we
ago.
did that a year or two ago.
Crystal was in office, she asked the board to allow
Right.
her to set aside, I believe it was
35 or 30,
He
yeah.
wound up taking 25, but he's not taking any
It's not
we've
really-
come back because he's been turning the money over.
Right.
Not asked for anymore, but I think now he probably.
Well, and because Mary Poppins
Difficult
is
to do,
a very
yes.
expensive performance, and so we're going to need to support
Right, so we
him.
need the action too. We need discussion, input, and action,
Where are you gonna
please.
get a flying umbrella?
He'll figure it out. They had a flying sleigh in Elf.
Have to somehow talk him in, because these schools couldn't all even, and I know they're the waiting list, but I mean, even if we got one more day for our school kids, the field trips, and I know it's a lot of work, but oh my gosh, it's an experience that these kids would not ever get to
Right.
do if we didn't,
It's been wonderful.
I
Are you
know.
complete? Are you through?
I am through,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
Chairman.
And I'll go ahead and tell you that it's neat being up here and being a chairman, because Kathy's telling me what to do and Jane's telling me what to do. So
No, I'm asking you what
it's
to
really,
do.
it's really not a tough job at all, folks. So, I did enjoy the meeting. I guess I enjoyed the STEM part the most, science, technology, the whole thing. But the bus that I looked at, that Nikki was talking about is
Go to the bus.
absolutely, I
You're
did.
supposed to go together, and you left me.
I didn't want to be able to speak about something that we couldn't, that would be a violation of sunshine.
Oh, yeah,
So
right.
anyway,
I hear you.
gosh. Anyway.
You missed the bus.
million-
I was there.
It's $1,600,000 for the bus. Very expensive, and we sat and ate lunch with the fellows that
Well, didn't that
sell the
superintendent do a
bus,
lot to
handle the
get
bus, and
didn't she?
different things from drones to, military applications of those things. It was interesting. But it reminded me of the old speech vans and the gifted vans where the teacher would take the mobile classroom and work with the kids at the schools when you can't afford to equip every
Miss Hedrick.
classroom. But it was, huh?
Miss Hedrick.
Yes, I remember that. You want to do another report?
No,
Okay.
She wants a workshop.
A workshop. Y'all are going to have a lot of workshops. Anyway, it was wonderful, and in the interest of time, since my twin granddaughters are having a birthday party that started at 3:30, I'll pass the torch on to our board attorney.
Thank you, Chairman Buckles. A few things. First, I want to compliment the staff of the district. There was a legal issue that came up over the Thanksgiving holiday that required several district employees to have all hands on deck that we worked through. So thank you again to the hardworking staff of the district who go above and beyond all the time for many issues, including legal issues. Also, transgender issues that Chairwoman Crawford brought up. Oh, excuse me, board member Crawford. I was trying to make you. I was trying to make you chairwoman already.
No.
Next year.
Except that we don't want to. I will resign.
The
I go to the birthday party and let you take over.
No.
The transgender issue is something that is a topic that is often discussed on the listserv for school board attorneys throughout Florida. We have some presentations that, if the board would like, we could present. Right now, Dade and Orange County are seeing more of this than other counties in the state. But it's a potential source of lawsuits and litigation, so it's something that we ought to be thinking about now.
Mr. Attorney, do we have policy in place?
Yes,
We have policy in place.
but
for
it's
that?
not clear at all, and
Well, we
uh,
need
it-
to
it-
fix our
That's why I
policy, is
was-
what you're saying.
Right, and we have reached out to other districts already asking for better interpretations of other districts' policies, and everyone is in the same boat right now, which is how do we
Learning how.
legally get through this.
What does Neola say? We pay them every year.
Neola is not clear either, and it's not their fault.
I understand.
There are a lot
If they're
of.
not clear, then nobody's.
Well, Charlie, just like students changing their names to reflect their gender.
Right,
And
that-
how you do
has
that in your
federal
data
implications
system
with
and,
FERPA and the rest, and
Right.
the privacy of school records. It has a very broad reach in many different facets of the district. Additionally, the foundation, we're making good progress on that. Thank you for the board's direction. Last time we were together with the DSO route, we have been crafting articles of incorporation for the foundation, and at our next meeting, we will have a final version attached to the agenda that you can vote on and approve at that point. So then we can go to the next step, which is creating the board, who will be the board and in turn the executive director. So things are moving along well with the foundation. I'm really excited about that. And then finally, I know many of you have asked about our newest law partner, Mr. Joshua Cossey, and he is here today. I'd like to introduce Joshua, who, like
I wondered who that cute man out there
Chairman
was.
Buckles, he and his wife had twins about 3 weeks ago.
Whoa.
Operating on little sleep, Josh is still able to make it.
Sleepy.
Where's the coffee? Well, good afternoon. My name is Joshua Cossey of Douglas Hedstrom Cossey. It's really nice to finally meet this board and the public, the people of Palatka and Putnam County. It took a while to convince Charlie to go ahead and introduce me. He was reluctant. I'm one of the few people in the firm without fancy facial hair and the handsomeness that comes with that, so I apologize. But I certainly understand my main reasons, because I'm in the National Guard, and something that I hear a lot in uniform, but you probably don't, is thank you for your service. And I wanted to just, for a moment, touch on that. You guys, you're in the trench, the front line of tomorrow's future and culture. And one of the things that drew me to this firm is our firm's role in the community. My wife is a teacher by trade, and she's, of course, home now with my 2 4-week-old twins and my 2-year-old. So
Oh
she's.
my gosh.
I think we're all entitled to a little hazard pay here. Last I checked, but I myself am a product of the public schools and certainly understand and relate. I'm coming from an in-house counsel background. And also commercial litigation and business real estate, whatnot. But I was in-house counsel for a couple companies, one of which was, of course, a healthcare IT conglomerate. So maybe I can help in framing the system selections and requirements documents and how we're approaching SOWs or scope, statements and scopes of work and whatnot. So I'm certainly here to add to the resources that you all need. And of course, I'll be around later if you all want to meet face to face. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. You were very nice, regardless of what Rocco said earlier. Mr. Douglas, are you through?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Criswell, I know you'll be brief.
David!
Well,
You talk as long as you want
will you
to.
take over and let me go to the
I'm
party?
used to
for
that.
my grandson?
Yes, I'll be brief, but you have to stay for this because it's really important. The first thing that I wanted to say is certainly ELF was amazing. We have kids all over Putnam County that do amazing things, whether it's FFA or musical theater or band or cheerleading or sports or whatever they're involved in. We're just happy we can provide those activities for students. And we would welcome the legislature putting money out for those activities, because certainly they help keep students in school and they help keep students working hard and keeping their grades up so they can participate. Also wanted to say that One Book, One Putnam wanted me to remind you that they have chosen a book called Heart of Palm. It's written by Laura Lee Smith, and they will have their kickoff in January. So just want you to be aware of that, and I'll put some information in your mailboxes about it. I'm going to pass out to you the school calendar for 2016-17 for you to look at over the holidays and come back and vote on in January. And we've worked very hard on this, but we want you to look at it to determine if you see anything that you're concerned about. We are, of course, after last year, we moved back 1 week, and now we'll move back like the rest of the districts to starting school on August 10th. And so that is reflected in this calendar. And if you approve it in January, we can go ahead and get all that information out to parents, in January, which would be really good. In order to do that and to also end our semester In December, which is really good for our high school students and our middle school students, we will have Thanksgiving holiday of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday rather than the whole week, which is, by the way, what other districts do. So just going to pass this down and let you all take one and look at it over the holidays, and we will have it on the agenda in January to vote on. And then once if you have any concerns, we'll address those hopefully prior to that meeting. So if you do have concerns, call us between now and the January meeting, and we'll address those, and then hopefully get the calendar like you want it so that you can vote on it in January. And the last thing I have to say is, if I don't see you again, happy holidays, happy New Year. It's hard to believe it's December.
I know this is probably going to upset our chairman, but may I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Could you give us a very brief update on our vocational center?
Upsetting me.
Oh, well, you gave me that look. Where we are now in our process with First Coast Tech?
They want to do and have to do some renovations on that building, particularly for culinary arts, because that whole area was gutted previously, and so they are in the process of working with an architect of their choice, of course, and the monies that we were able to get from the state, they will use for renovation. But certainly all of that takes so much longer than you expect because of all the hoops you have to jump through because of what the legislature says you'll do. So we hoped that we would have been able to start in January, but there's no way to get everything done in time.
Next school year?
So
maybe?
next school year is the plan at this moment, and the architect is working hard to do all the things that the state says you have to do. And a lot of people don't realize that when you get money and you're going to renovate a building that's going to house students, they are very specific about what you do and how you do and all the permits and everything. And Scott could come up and give us a whole workshop on that, but I know he didn't really want to do that. I don't know that you need to hear it. He can handle that. So just know that we're moving forward. It's not as fast as any of us want to, but it is getting done.
Probably in the spring or summer, we'll reveal an artist rendition of what we've got proposed and what's coming, so.
They're working on that, and as soon as it's available, certainly we will pass it on to you.
Yes, sir, you do.
And this may be out of order, but I just want to bring it up. The Middleton Bernie easement issue going through probate, I know the board is aware of that. In case this arises between now and our next board meeting, since we're only having one in December, would it be possible if I could go ahead and get the board's approval? We're dealing with another attorney out of state who represents the estate of the person who had the property. And we've come to a price, but the deed has not been signed over yet. It's got to go through a process. One of the recommendations that we have made to the estate's lawyer is that we would pay the price. The $6,500 is the price. We would pay half of that up front, and the estate, the personal representative, would send us a signed copy of the deed that we would hold in escrow. We would hold the second half in escrow as well. And when everything is done, all the signatures have been signed, the personal representative has fulfilled all of their obligations, that we would release the money. So if we need to take that route between now and our next board meeting, would you give permission for that to happen, that we could write a check for half of that amount? And it's $6,500, that is the full
I
purchase price.
certainly don't have a problem with how the rest of the board feels.
I'm fine with
We've
it.
already approved it, right? So that's for you to work out. I don't
So-
think it matters yet.
You have the
If
board's
you're-
permission.
Yeah, if you're
We can-
recommending it. sure.
Okay, and the holding it in escrow and the rest, that's all, that the board is okay with all that?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, with nothing else, that concludes our meeting. Thank you.
I wanted to do that.
Well, you-